How many of your lives have been affected by the use of drugs in one way, shape, or form? Me personally has been the reason of worry on multiple occasions due to my use of narcotics. Good evening, my name is Todd Adair, and I'm here to break down not only the mental attitude to using, but the psychological and physiological addictive tendencies to the narcotic drug industry. Seeing as how the government is finally labeling it as an epidemic, I know the use and sale of narcotic drugs in our neighborhoods is spreading rampant and has affected at least half of the lives of you in one way, at least. Due to the number of researching and various updates throughout the mainstream media, I know that this is no longer some underground topic of debate, but it is a household discussion on a daily basis as the years went on. I will be informing you of how over the past decade the use and abuse of illicit street drugs has made an extremely detrimental impact on our society. It is estimated that between 26.4 million and 36 million people across the world suffer from substance abuse, with around 2.1 million related to prescription opioid pain in the United States alone. My family is an integer of that percentile, due to my idiotic decisions and mistakes I've made along the way in life. Beginning at the young age of 15, I had a needle in my arm, which led to an extremely different way of living than I expected I would endure. So, in a very similar story for millions of families suffering from the exact same problem I have worked so hard to overcome. Number one, it is estimated that the number of emergency visits due to heroin more than doubled from 145,000 to 306,000 in just 4 years. Number two, admission to treatment rose from 1% of all admissions in 1997 up to 5% over a 10-year span. Deaths from prescription opioid use nearly tripled over the past 20 years. I'm extremely blessed not to be part of that percentile. It is by far the worst situation can get that you have to experience the death of a close friend or family member or loved one due to the overdose of a drug. The next in line to the negative circumstances that come out of this horrible industry of drug involvement is the incarceration due to being in possession of any drug and or paraphernalia, the sales and distribution of these drugs, or the death/violence caused in obtaining them. Not only do families suffer from loved ones dying due to the drug-related overdoses, but the crimes involved to get possession of these, as well as those who get locked up, are just as horrific and life-altering. Once again, me being a figure of these statistics mentioned, my life took a complete 180-degree shift upon the sentencing imposed of 5.5 years in the Department of Arizona Corrections, which started in the beginning of 2012. It's not only the inmate who deals with the consequences of his or her actions upon being turned over to the state to serve time handed out to them. Number one, back in '04, 18% of federal and 17% of state inmates stated that their convictions were for committing an offense to get money for the drug habit. Number two, 1/4 of convicted property or drug offenders in jail/prison got their felony due to obtaining money for their drugs. Those murdered in the drug war inside the United States between 2006 and 2010 exceeded the U.S. troop death toll in the Iraq War since '03. From completely understanding how real these real-life interactions with your loved ones correlate to the stats and mind-blowing, but true in every way, shape, and form. The difference between having to deal with the negative consequences of sending loved ones to their ever after and keeping them under our wings due to the guardian angels is the positive outcomes of conquering addiction completely due to inpatient rehabilitation as well as continuing therapy afterwards. The honest but extremely disappointing statistic of all the is the success stories of those addicted to actually overcome the disease and put down the one thing they hate the most. For once, this is a statistic I am no longer involved in because I am currently 4 years clean, working on number 5 come November. I would give nothing for the position that I'm currently in right now. I know this is where I'm supposed to be due to the grace of God and His almighty grace and mercy. Even though my success is an amazing blessing, it is the dreadful truth. I have to divulge that the majority of those who get addicted, then try to recover, have the tables turned against them. The ends are always the same for 77% of those addicted: jails, institutions, and death. But there are the ones like me who beat the odds and are able to overcome and somewhat have a normal life, even though I'm nowhere near normal. Number one, the minimum stay for an inpatient is usually about 30 days, which usually consists of detox period and then intensive therapy afterwards. In '05, the number of patients that dropped out of all types of treatment without completing was at 24%, which is pretty high. Also, number three, 24% of patients had their treatment terminated or failed to finish because of incarceration or other reasons. 44% of patients completed treatment, although it is hard to say whether or not the treatment was successful in the long run. To sum it up, I believe that the issue at hand needs to be further addressed, and actions to assist those addicted need to be allocated by the government. Like I stated earlier, throughout the past 11 years of my life on this earth, every day of my life has been devoted to overcome this modern day epidemic. To overcome a disease that has destroyed millions of families, I will do whatever is possible to be a beneficial and productive member of my society. Ask to help the ones in need and overcome this crippling disease and to find a new way of life, full of happiness, excitement, and love. Thank you.